Welcome back, everyone. We are here with a lightning round product review, dense, information dense, and useful for everybody. I'm joined by Frederick from Collibra, and he will be talking to us about unified governance of data and AI. So it's not two separate domains. It can be one domain.
It is one domain.
It is one domain.
In my opinion, it's an expansion of what we already were doing as governance, but now it's with data and the expansion in AI. And
All right.
we cover governance on that part.
Cool.
I'll make governance sexy again.
That's good. Please tell the introduce yourself to the audience and hit it off.
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm Frederick. I've been in the IT world almost 20 years. Seems like I'm getting old, but I've been in data governance about 3 years now for Collibra. A really an amazing story because 3 years ago we saw a lot of changes in the market and we saw AI picking up, so we needed to follow new trends. And that's where Collibra started with the idea of, we need to unify everything. We already have a governance platform, we have a catalog, we have privacy, we have everything on top. So let's build everything together and deliver that to the organizations and customers.
Okay.
And I'll run you through that presentation today. So I first want to start with a bit of the challenges of what we have today as a challenge and what we see at other organizations, customers of ours. And what we see is that there is a really big gap in what they want to do with the data and what they really are able to do because it's growing at that fast pace. They are all eager to do something, but in the end, there's a gap of, I cannot follow the traction. There are not enough data scientists to run through all the data. You see a lot of chatbots popping up, AI use cases, and they want to try everything, but you need to be able to follow that trend as well as a company. And what we of course see is the more data products that you're putting in there, the more stakeholders that you need to talk to, and they probably talk to each other via coffee or and a Zoom meeting and a Teams meeting nowadays. But even more stakeholders, more projects, more oversight, and more, in the end, more urgency, because an AI project is something that you want to deliver really quickly.
Right.
So that's the challenge that we have, and that's a gap between what we wanted to do and what we want to deliver. And that's already a bit of a canyon. If you see AI use cases popping up, everybody is doing AI, and we already saw a couple of cases where it didn't really went well. We have example of Canada Air, where there's a chatbot that is reacting not in the right kind of way,
right,
because they didn't do the data quality right in the beginning, or they didn't do the governance around it right in the beginning. So you need to make sure that everything is well structured, and then you can go forward. So we want to avoid going into that canyon.
I see.
And we ask a lot of our customers, are you really ready for that AI? What kind of data quality do you have? Can you find the data that you really need to build that AI model that you're training now? What does that data mean? A lot of organization, a data scientist looks at the data and says, I don't really know what that data means, I need to figure out, I need to talk to somebody. So really making sure that you get to a point where everybody is ready to do a really good pitch around AI. And the potential is, if you could solve all of those things, say the stakeholders, the projects, you could accelerate tremendously. Because if you have your basis right, you can look at the data that you need. You have the governance in place around, is it PII data, yes or no? Is it data quality, is it in order? All of those things you have covered. That means you can quickly say a new AI use case, this is the model that we need, and we can start again.
Let me ask one thing. So you guys have been around since before ChatGPT?
We've been around 2008. We started in a university project.
And I think one thing that's interesting about the kind of data that's accessible to Gen AI users now is a lot of unstructured data.
Indeed.
And back in the old days, it used to mean binary data, basically. But there's a lot more unstructured text data that is valuable, that it took people a long time to understand that there actually, maybe there is value in having that. How do you work with structured and unstructured separately?
So what we do as a governance platform, catalog, we catalog most of the time structured information, of course, we connect to data sources and so on. We have an understanding or a partnership with Ohalo, and Ohalo scans those unstructured data, and then we use the metadata of that scan, could be PII data, classification, and so on, and we will put that in our system as well. So if you're building an AI use case, you could say it's being trained by structured data X, Y, and Z, is being trained by unstructured data there. This is the classification impact, and you can go forward.
Okay.
And then depending on the risk that you want to put on there from a legal point of view, but we do handle unstructured data as well.
As well, okay, in one place.
All in one place. So really focusing on solving that problem, and if we can accelerate being the first mover in AI benefits, because if you're the first mover, you can see an open AI. If you move quickly, then you are the first mover and you get the benefits around it. But what is a bit of blocking us, and we call it governance fragmentation, because one side, data is spread everywhere, a lot of systems, a lot of cloud vendors as well that have specifics around it. We see a lot of control and the visibility around people that need to work with each other. The business that is not really connected to the data itself. Sometimes the business doesn't really know what is happening with the data. And in the end, there is no easy way of the business and the technical, because they don't talk the same language, to bring that together. And that's what we call in a simple term, the governance fragmentation.
Right.
And we have a big pain map. You could say, hey, data pros are really seeing a lot of demand, or if you look at the major backlogs that they have. So really looking at governance fragmentation as a pain map that's saying, yeah, we need to solve that pain map. And this is something that we see as don't relinquish the control to the governance. It's not a bolt-on solution, it's something that needs to be unified. Because if you know in your system that data is, the ownership is known, the model is known, the privacy context is known, well, that means that it's not bolted on, it's all stitched together, and that's the idea. So don't compromise on making sure that you limit the visibility, for example, or don't compromise on risk, because in the end, it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to be in the newspaper for those kind of things. And this is where I will start a little bit on how Collibra really helps in that part. I already explained a bit on unstructured and structured data, but we are really focusing on connecting every system. That means from models, but it also means from data sources, unstructured, for every user. Because I wanted to say the business and the technical stakeholders talk a different language, but the business needs to know what is the business value of that AI use case, and on the other hand, the technical stakeholder needs to know what kind of data is he using. The legal needs to know, is it ethical to do that? So all those users need to be involved in that AI governance and in governance in general.
Are there other challenges in establishing the quality of the output from Gen AI data sources?
It's two ways I can answer that question. The good thing is, from a data quality point of view, we would start from a data source, looking at your data source, doing a couple of data quality and observability rules on that, thinking about completeness, uniqueness, those kind of things. And then you already have, from a data scientist point of view, the view on, is my data set of a certain quality that I can use it? The second part is, the moment you put an AI use case into production, you will have an idea around, is it biased, is it drifting, and so on. What we will do, we will integrate and use those metrics, again in our AI governance platform, and saying, these are the metrics that you need to look at. If it drops a certain level, we can start workflows and then make sure that all the necessary people are involved to make sure that the AI is taken offline, for example, or mitigated to make sure that this problem doesn't exist anymore.
Got it.
Really looking from input to output, starting from the data source, but also looking to the end of the line and making sure that you know what the data and AI is doing. And then, of course, what I mentioned is active and automated. And active really means collaboration, but also automated. If something drops a certain level, that you don't need to wait and is my AI working, yes or no? No, it drops. You will get notification and you can start doing actions around it. And in the end, this is the ultimate goal around Collibra. It's making sure that everybody has data confidence. You want to be sure that my data is doing what I need to do, but also trustworthy. It needs to be there. And what we are seeing is, of course, first movers with new AI. It's one of the customers that we had is TELUS, and TELUS is a really big international IT company.
Right.
Don't know if you know it, but and they have struggles like any other global organization. Data is dispersed over different systems. Data scientists are dispersed across the global company and in different countries. That means that they need to centralize again and they need to find and find their information. And how do you do that? Making sure that everything is cataloged, that it has an ownership, and that as a data scientist, data engineer, a data steward can go in and say, hey, where's my data? You can find it. And instead of wasting a lot of time of talking to each other, send me this file, you will reduce the time of finding data from hours to merely minutes because you find it in the system. And the funny thing is in most of the customers, you don't know what you don't know. At a certain moment, if you don't know that there is a use case, well, what we noticed in Taylor's and in other customers as well is that they start thinking, but maybe we can also do this AI model and we already built this part so we can reuse. So they start iterating with each other and other businesses learn from each other inside that company. And what we see, of course, is the market is moving really quickly. Everybody is talking about AI and AI governance and so on. When every technology offers the same promise and everybody says, hey, we have a catalog, which is amazing. And I think we need those catalogs because we think as Collibra that they are gathering a lot of technical information for us. And we start from the raw data. Everybody is computing their data in kind of a platform like Databricks, Snowflakes, the guys that are here as well. And they have catalogs to have that technical metadata in there. But we want to enrich that from a business point of view, policies, local law, those specific things that you can link, saying, hey, this is interesting. And then, of course, automated around it and delivering business value. Thinking about a use case, trusted business reporting. I have these strategic reports that I always need to report on. Are they certified? I am sure that this is the data that I'm using. So if a CFO needs to report on something, he knows this is the report that is always trusted. And that's the idea around business value then.
How high up in the functional sort of tech stack should this kind of data go? So I see it says, for example, conceptual and semantic. Should you include things like technical things like system prompts for LLMs, or should you include sort of descriptions of metrics and like how high up should you have it in a conceptual and semantic way?
It depends a bit. Certain customers want to enrich it as much as possible. We have the big advantage of Collibra is that it's really flexible, so you can define your operating model like you would ever want it. It mimics the complexity of the organization.
Right.
And what we try to do then is saying, hey, you have an asset type. Do you want specific attributes on that asset type so that we can connect certain metrics that you also need? I had a discussion today with one of our customers talking about, yeah, but I need usage analytics and data popularity and some, you can do that. But it needs to be added then on your operating model. Yeah. And that's why we are really strong in that part as well.
Okay.
And I'll build it up. So looking at Collibra, and I'll run through all the layers on how Collibra is a bit built. And it will get you a bit of an understanding. We, of course, start with that semantic graph. You already saw the word in the previous slide as well. And we will connect to all sources. And all sources means all data sources that you potentially could use. I mentioned structured, unstructured, and we will start doing a bit of getting information, the technical information around that first data source. Could be what is the column name, what is the table name, those kind of specific things. Did you add tags, classification, profiling, a bit of the general information. If we then start connecting certain things, bringing the business context and then also the layer of the technical context, if you enrich it, then you have that powerful knowledge graph because you have policies connected, you have the systems connected, you have the data sources, so you start bringing a really nice picture of how it really looks like. And then of course it's end-to-end traceability. If a data engineer is changing pipelines, he starts with data source, he starts saying, hey, I need this kind of data, so I do some transformations, and then it ends up in a kind of a new data set. Well, that's that end-to-end traceability that we want to deliver as well. If you go one layer on top, and that's always an interesting one, trust, what does that really mean? Trust is really going in there and saying, okay, is it data quality? Do I know the ownership, data stewardship? Is the technical lineage available? Where is it coming from? So really looking at a trust level of, is this something that we can build upon and that I can trust every day to work with this data.
Right.
And how do we then, as a Collibra point of view, and looking at our platform, we will improve efficiency from productivity, we will make sure that people talk to each other. Even in the platform, we can integrate with Slack and Teams that is coming, so that means that if you have a message, it will pop up in their native thing that they want to use as well. The second layer then is comply, and comply is more from compliance. Yeah. Think about any regulation that you can think of, and there are many, there are more than 100 already locally, specifically for certain things, and then every vertical still has its own regulation that you need to adhere at.
Right.
The most common one is, of course, the AI EU Act, of course, but then thinking about GDPR, all of those specific things, that's something that we can help with. And it's, in the end, decreasing the risk of that compliance.
Right.
And if you then look at a business layer, a consumer layer, it's really thinking about stitching those things together. If you look at the report, and this is a strategic report and there's a KPI on there, potentially I don't know what that KPI really means. What does a sale mean? Maybe it's a service that you deliver, or is it the full service with the customer engineering around it? There are
a contract is signed, or that the customer is paid.
So that means that if a business analyst goes in that report, that he could select it and say via Collibra Everywhere, a browser plugin, saying, hey, what does that really mean? And then you get into the system, this is the description, this is the definition of what we really mean. And you're talking the same language at that time. So it's in the end, it's all about making sure that you decrease the time and that you can make sure that all the stakeholders are connected with each other. And this is new. We are using Collibra AI, and Collibra AI, everybody has a bit of AI underneath the hood. So what we are doing there is really focusing on ingestion at scale, using automation to build lineage, even with Power BI, for example, all the DAX, all the calculations, getting that calculation traced back to where it's coming from. So getting more insights and automating that part.
You can build on Power BI to do those kinds of things? That's nice.
That's really nice.
Is it just Power BI, or other ones as well?
We have other, the last slide is about all the integrations. We have about more than 100 connectors. So you can almost connect to any system on that part. And if we cannot connect out of the box, we have APIs that we will build something for the customer specifically then. Really nice now as well is we'll have an AI co-pilot. Everybody is calling it co-pilot. We will call it co-pilot as well. And that's the idea, that you guide those users into a more user-friendly, instead of going to a search, you could say, hey, I need something around sales and sales analytics. He will come up, hey, do you need a business term? What does it really mean? Or can you deliver data sets? Or a data scientist that says, hey, how do you configure this in the platform? Instead of going to the website and trying to Google out on where is it really, you will get an answer. This is what you need to do, these are the steps, and this is the documentation where you can find it. So helping the customers really get more out of the platform at that end as well.
I can't wait till AI does all this stuff for us.
I need to watch out. Maybe
I'm excited about it.
We get replaced at a certain moment. If you look at, for example, a lot of trainings that we get, you get an AI person instead of you. And then, of course, natively integrated. We have more than 100 connectors out of the box with a lot of our partners that are here as well, which we really closely work together with. A couple of them that we can highlight, of course, is Databricks, is Snowflake. We're a partner of the year there. Google as well, also partner of the year. SAP, we're an endorsed partner. So these are the really big ones where we see at every customer almost. And as mentioned, it's really through a single platform of control for all the users. It's really talking about that all the products that you want to connect, data products, data marketplace, data privacy, and then also for all the specific users, technical users, business users, legal users, all the stakeholders are required to do something with data. And in the end, I explain a bit on, don't do it bolt-on, but making sure that it's really unified. We have the experience, we've been a data leader from 2008 we started, and we've been in the world from 2008 around governance. So we didn't do it bolted on, we really wanted to make sure that it's a unified platform and a unified approach for all the stakeholders. If you look how we always try to help our customers as well, we have a customer engineering team, an account team that really says, your success is our success. Let's work together and make sure that we convince the customer on use cases, adoption, and so on.
What about customers? Some customers might be more centralized when it comes to everything from their engineering to their data governance, or they might not even have data governance. But for customers that are more or less centralized, does it change sort of the way that you approach where to get started, or?
Yes, indeed, because every customer has a different kind of maturity, we call it then. If you have a customer that is in the beginning of the journey, or is already saying, hey, I know what data governance is, I'm already doing it, maybe in Excel files or something, but they're already doing it, that means that we could have a different discussion. And it's all about, I mentioned the flexibility of our platform, and the flexibility allows the customers to say, the operating model, I'll mimic your organization, and we will take the parts that are really necessary now. We will start with a specific use case. I mentioned trusted business reporting. That could be a really ideal use case to start saying, talk to the finance department, which reports do you use on a monthly basis to really run your business? Maybe there are 10 reports that you're using, but they potentially have 100 or 1,000 in the catalog. Let's look at those 10, certify those, and certify means, does it have a data owner? Is there lineage?
Right.
Is there a policy attached? Is it cleaned up every once in a while?
Can I make it so the system automatically flags if there's a data owner that doesn't work at the company anymore?
It would be removed, and it would be a workflow that we would trigger. So if somebody got removed, you could trigger a workflow saying, hey, this person doesn't work, send it to the central data office team. What we would suggest in that case, we normally could say a data owner is a group of people.
Okay.
So we create a group and then we put people in there.
Okay.
Which is more logical because you have a lot of people changing jobs.
I think it's neat that there are sort of best practices that you've gotten through experience of implementing
Indeed.
this that might not be obvious to people that are trying to implement this themselves.
Indeed, and that's why we always support our customers in that journey. So we offer our professional services the moment a customer becomes a customer.
Right.
And the first thing that we try to do is define those use cases, define the operating model, and guide them in that part, and we will give them best practices at that time. And we will stay connected as an account team. My team doesn't run away the moment the customer signed. We say, thank you very much. No, we keep connected. We will have monthly meetings with most of the customers, depending on their needs. And then we will have a discussion on adoption. What did you already connect? What is the next use case? And then keep engaging. Because governance is not something that stands still. It keeps on moving every day. And the only thing that I still want to add, of course, you can come to our booth. More than willing to do a demo there on every nifty thing that we do. Collibra Product Tours is something that a click-through kind of demo. We have a lot of specific use cases. I mentioned trusted business reporting. That's one that they can click through, AI governance, and they can do it at their own time, their own desk, lunch, doesn't matter when they want to do it. Of course, coming back this afternoon and tomorrow for the technology and review, I'll do a demo around AI governance. And we have a really large community of, we call them Collibrians a bit, because they're part of our family. We call ourselves Collibrians, but a community is a part of our family with 11,000 members around data leaders, data governance people, data engineers, data scientists, and so on.
So people that are interested in this and feel like they want to get started, what is the best way to get started? Is there a demo version that they can try, or what is the right way to go about it?
So what we normally do is the product tours can already give you a first insight on how do you use it.
Yeah.
What we then do is we engage with customers because we want to understand what kind of maturity are you at and so on.
Okay.
And then we guide the customers in demos that we deliver as a team, or we can guide them in a proof of value or a minimal viable pilot, those kind of things. Setting something up together with the customer.
So setting up a minimal MVP, that kind of thing would be the right way to get started? Should they reach out to your team? Is that a good way to do it?
Of course, that's a really good way to do it. Connect with me, connect with my team, on our website, you can connect as well, and you will get the best treatment that you could ever have.
Make sure that they get top priority from you.
I will do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great presentation. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining, and we will be back shortly with another demo. Thank you.
Thank you.